What's up, y'all? Welcome to the Sam the Beard Guy channel. So today we're talking about the VSL CFX versus the Garritan CFX. I got more comments than I thought on some of my VSL videos of just comparing the two, because they are both, really highly esteemed libraries with a lot of really great qualities. And so I figured I would record a video kind of comparing these two. So this is a little bit more of a narrower lane, but we're comparing the CFX from VSL to the Garritan CFX. I'll just say this right now. They're both great libraries. I've spent some time kind of A-Bing them and playing between the two, and they are a little different. And, they're at different price points, so some of that's going to be quality, some of that's feature set. Yeah. So, hey, y'all, make sure to like, sub, share, comment, all the things. It helps the channel grow. And so that would be awesome. So, here's the VSL interface, and then here's the CFX interface. I will say just right off the bat, the VSL interface is just a little bit more appealing and easy on the eyes. But that's, if you've been around my channel long enough, you know that interfaces are kind of like whatever. Like, how does it sound? And I've used some of my favorite pianos have awful AIs. But that's just a personal preference. But yeah, UI wise, the VSL is a little more easy to look at, but whatever. Both of them are going to have their own reverb settings. I do like how the VSL kind of comes in with reverb already. The CFX, you have to go in here and turn it on. This amount of reverb on a piano, kind of that to me is like, that's not effects for piano. That's the room and just the way a piano should sound, especially considering probably the usage that these types of pianos are getting. And so this doesn't bother me. Sometimes with pianos, I'll take off the reverb and add my own, but for this, so I like how it comes in with the default reverb that makes sense for the piano. With the Garritan stuff, you got to turn it on. You got to go in here and find, like the right one that you would want, maybe. It's like small studio, I don't know. Or maybe it's like a large chambers, a large symphonic concert hall. Versus the VSL. CFX. So yeah, I mean that's a nitpicky thing. But other features, they both have the same like type of back end kind of stuff. You can do your velocity curves, you can do those over here. So all that stuff is very similar. One thing that CFX actually has that the VSL does not, which is honestly kind of surprising. I'm not going to say this is a knock on the piano, but it is surprising that it doesn't have this. Oh, and just a little side note. In my last VSL video, I mentioned something about the weird bug or the weird, like, wherever it was, like this weird kind of shrunken UI and like the weird this. They've already addressed that and they asked me about it. So that shouldn't be a thing that you have to worry about, just in VSL's defense. Because I think it's because they sent me a specific version, and it's a little bit different than what you're getting. I can't remember what they set up off the top of my head, but yeah, one thing that's surprising that CFX has that VSL doesn't, they don't have lid positions. And so if you go over to the CFX, you can do like open. You can come in here and change, you can change it, to half. And then to closed. That's one thing VSL doesn't have, which is kind of surprising. But I mean, that is what it is. When I was doing the VSL reviews, I wasn't like missing the lid option. But no library has everything. If it did, it would be the leader. And there is no real leader in the piano space. It's all preference, despite what some of y'all think in the comment sections. So the lid position is worth noting. Another thing that's really worth noting, and I think this is what really sets apart VSL in a different way. You're also paying for it because VSL is the more expensive library. But the big thing that sets it apart is the mic positions. And so, with VSL, you were getting just a large mic preset and mic selection, or not specific mics, but just a wide array of different mic setups you can use. You have your player, your intimate, your concert, you have close rooms, mids, mains, you have surround options, high surround. Where CFX, you're kind of getting your close, your ambient, and even if I loaded up like a classic, preset, you're really just getting a few options. Now you can change your mic perspective, which is fine, but you're really only getting a few mics. And I think when I think about why a company might charge cheaper for something, that could be a lot of it. Just the labor that goes into recording a lot more mic positions is maybe just a lot more intensive. So that's why VSL is charging so much. So I know a lot of people are, complain like VSL is so expensive. Like, man, it's just not worth it. But when you compare it to a CFX, that only has these 2 mic positions, or, 3 or whatever you want to call, this spread, that's kind of what you're paying for. And so you can kind of hear that. If I go back to the player setting, we're just dealing with basic presets today, so you guys chill. If we go back to this basic CFX setting and then go to the VSL, here's the VSL. By the way, that popping, I think it's just because I have 2 really CPU-intensive libraries open at the same time. CFX and VSL is going to make any computer work. So it's just when I switch back over to it, it's taking a second to reload. So the CFX is just you're getting a lot more close sounding vibe. That's almost the way I would describe it. The CFX just feels like it's leaning more on the close mics, where the VSL is really getting the complete picture of the room. So here's the CFX. So yeah, they're a little bit different. I think a lot of that is just, what mics are getting put into the mix. Besides that, there aren't a lot of features that, kind of separate these 2. I know that, there's little things that people bring to my attention that I honestly can't remember. But as far as the meat and bones and meat and potatoes of these 2 libraries, I would say those are really the 2 things that separate it. The lid positions that CFX has. And so if you're really passionate about lid positions, maybe CFX is the option for you. If you're really passionate about having a lot more miking options and, deca trees and surround a stereo, down mixes and whatever, then maybe VSL's for you. If money is like tight, the CFX works just great. Like, I have loved the CFX forever, and I still love the CFX. And just because I have the VSL piano doesn't mean I won't ever use CFX again. I know it's confusing when I say CFX. That's just what Garritan calls the library. So hopefully y'all are smart enough to know what I'm talking about when I say that. But yeah, I love both of these, and I could see myself using, both of these in different ways. But yeah, I mean, lid position, mic presets, and mic options, and then budget. I mean, CFX, I think, is about $100 cheaper. And that's honestly, it's probably because you're getting less mic options, and so those are the big things that stick out to me about what's different. I've been getting a lot of criticism lately about, my review style. Not a lot, but some. And it's like, dude, this is just my take on this stuff. I can't talk about every single thing that exists in these libraries. So y'all take it easy on me on the comment sections for once. That'd be nice. So yeah, lid positions, mic presets. So I think what I want to do now is I want to play a little bit on these, and then I think it'd be cool to like record a sample or record something and then listen back to it on both libraries and just kind of, A/B it that way. So let's start with the VSL. There's VSL. Do a little CFX real quick. Yeah, so one of the things I really notice, I think a lot of this is just the miking, positions and setups. The VSL feels brighter, which is, it's the same piano. I think a lot of that's just the close mic. Like with the close mic, you're going to get a lot more of that mid, low end kind of dominance. This is why uprights, sound a little bit more mid-rangey and low-endy. When the mics get closer, you're just getting a lot more of that mid kind of attack. And so that's what I'm feeling. Again, that's not right or wrong. That's just, the way they're recorded. So let's record a phrase, and then we'll just drag it. We'll just copy and paste it to VSL and just listen back and compare the exact same material. All right, so that's CFX. Let's kind of listen on VSL. Again, it's reloading. Y'all chill. All right, CFX. Yeah, so, VSL's brighter. Again, I think that's because you're getting more room. Just a different mic setup. So I'd almost say, like, the CFX, in a more, dark, intimate setting would be cool. Again, you might be able to, capture that with the VSL, but even with the CFX, like if you take the already darker kind of vibe to it and then close the lid, I don't think you can't get that with the VSL CFX. And so, I think that's something worth, really considering if you're kind of on the fence between these two is, if the VSL CFX is bright and it's a concert hall kind of vibe to it. And so, if I got asked to play some dark, moody pop song, I don't know that I would pull up the VSL, CFX. Maybe I would, maybe I wouldn't. I think, again, these libraries cost different amounts for different reasons. Yes, VSL is expensive, but you're getting, think about the labor that had to go into all the things that they offer, all those mic positions and whatever. And so, lid position, mic positions, CFX is darker. Those are my big takeaways. Maybe there are some really granular differences that I don't think are worth talking about or are not even on my radar because they're not important to me. But those are the big differences to me between the VSL and CFX. Again, I love both of them and I will use them both for tons of things because they're both fantastic libraries. Garritan CFX was my favorite CFX for a while, and now it's, top two or tied for first. I think they're both great. I am not going to say that one is better. I think they just have different usages. And no, I'm not refusing to pick a winner because both of these companies sent me these things. That's a whole nother thing. So, thank you all for watching. Hopefully this is helpful. I'm trying to be helpful, but also not vague. I like my reviews to just give you the info and let you decide. I am not a fan of just going, this is objectively better in all scenarios. I think I've clearly articulated the differences in these, and then you can decide what's better for you. And make sure if you want these MIDI files, go sub to my Patreon, $5 a month. You get all my MIDI files on almost everything I do, which I think is cool. And it helps support me, which I think is also cool. So thank y'all for watching, and I'll see you later.